Grenade by Alan Gratz, Part 2, pages 197 through 201. Fire. The girl's name was Masako. She had been a student at a girls' high school in Naha before she and her classmates were conscripted as nurses for the Shikina Field Hospital. It was terrible, she told Hideki as they picked their way slowly up a muddy slope in the darkness. They were only going a few hundred yards, to another command post nearby that Masako knew had nurses. But they had waited until night, when it was safer. Masako had decided to come along with Hideki because she had nowhere else to go. At first, it was just scrapes and bruises, Masako said, but as the Americans pushed south, we received more and more wounded. We ran out of medicine within the first few weeks. Bandages, too. We reused those when we could. It was the nurse's job to wash the bandages out in the river while American bombs fell all around us. The only other thing we could do was hold the wounded soldiers' hands and talk to them while they died. So that was what his sister had been doing the whole time too, Hideki thought, if she was still alive. Any hope he had to find Kimiko at the next command post was dashed when he and Masako crept through the entrance. It had already been abandoned by the IJA. Hideki and Masako split up to search the cave for anything to eat or drink. Hideki took a narrow tunnel away from the main passage and came to a small observation room cut into the side of the hill. He stopped to look through the opening and gasped at what he could see in the distance. Shuri Castle was on fire. The whole hill was a bright red bonfire in the darkness. The castle's pillars toppled as its ancient walls collapsed in flame. Hideki was numb as he watched Shuri Castle burn. Of course it was on fire. Of course it was destroyed. He'd been a fool to think the Japanese army could defend Okinawa, and a fool to think that Shuri Castle would survive. Everything on Okinawa would burn. A divine wind might still come to save Japan, but no kamikaze was coming to save this island. Shuri Castle was gone, and Okinawa was gone with it. Hideki, look! Food! Masako cried. Hideki's growling stomach won out over his heartache, and he rushed back to the main cavern. Masako had found a half-empty crate of IJA rations, food in tin cans. Hideki and Masako had to use bayonets that had been left behind to punch holes in the cans, but it was worth the effort. The tins were filled with delicious pineapple slices. Hideki gulped down 2 whole cans, making sure to drink every last drop of the sweet pineapple juice. He was just getting to work on his 3rd can of pineapples when a squad of Japanese soldiers from another command post came into the cave searching for leftover supplies. They immediately confiscated all the tin cans Hideki and Masako hadn't opened. "Why are you here?" the lieutenant demanded. "We came here from the field hospital," Hideki said. "The Americans attacked and drove us out." The lieutenant nodded. "Well, it's time for you to both rejoin the army. Come with us." "No, not again." Hideki just wanted to find his sister, not get pulled back into the war. He looked around for some place to run, to hide, but one of the soldiers was already grabbing him and Masako by the arms and dragging them to their feet. "This is your island, after all, not ours," the lieutenant said. "You should be the ones fighting for it." What island? Hideki thought. What was there left to fight for? And who should he be fighting? Hideki hated the Americans for attacking it, and the Japanese for giving them a reason to attack. The Japanese soldiers dragged Hideki and Masako to another cave. It wasn't far away, but it hadn't yet been discovered by the Americans. This bunker was crammed full of Japanese soldiers, both healthy and wounded, and 8 Okinawan children who had taken refuge with them. Hideki and Masako were quickly forgotten, and the food they had found was taken away and given to the soldiers. Hideki fumed, but didn't say anything. He knew better than to argue. "We've got to find a way out of here," Hideki told Masako. "Why?" Masako asked. "Isn't it safer with the soldiers?" "It wasn't very safe in the field hospital, was it?" Hideki pointed out. "No, you idiot." It wasn't Masako who had spoken. It was another girl nearby, a nurse, scolding one of the children. Hideki couldn't see who the girl was, but there was something about the way she said the word idiot. Something in the scolding, yet compassionate tone that made his heart skip a beat. His eyes went wide. Could it be? Hideki broke away from Masako and flew across the room. Two Japanese soldiers barked at him for squeezing between them, and he almost fell pushing his way through a knot of arguing children. But at last he found her. The nurse had her back to him, tending to a young boy's scraped knee, and Hideki grabbed her by the shoulder and spun her around. It was Kimiko.